Oh, yeah. I clapped too close to my face and it puffed like I managed to puff dust into my eye. So we're like starting the episode and I'm like visibly uncomfortable fiddling with my eye as we're doing and like they're kind of like we're doing the intro and then they're kind of like Shibby, what's wrong, man? I'm like, I clapped dust in my eye. So I have been injured doing the audio clap to start for a long while. I had my hands far, far away from my face to stop it from ever happening again. But yeah, that is the most dangerous part of the show.
Well, if you ever need Braille lessons, I got you. Free of charge.
Nutty.
Time's up. Let's do this.
We're in for a wild night.
Welcome everyone to episode 279 of Born to Be Wild, a wild Hearthstone podcast where we have fun hanging out with friends, talking about the wild formats of Hearthstone, and spotlighting members of the wild community. I am your host, ElectricSheepCity. It is great to be back on this fantastic Friday evening here in Kickin' Rad, Colorado. I am joined by fellow hosts, Hydralisk.
Yo.
And Schmoopydady.
I will not be painting my whiz bang.
That's an inside joke.
We are also privileged this week to be joined by Mae. Mae can be found around the internet, including Twitch, at Tyleniphe. That's Tyleniphe. So Mae, how have you been since we last spoke in July, and how has it been that long? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I've been pretty good. Life throws you lemons and you make lemonade or something. Actually kind of like putting lemon on like my smoked salmon and cream cheese bagels in the morning instead. But some people like lemonade.
Whoa.
But yeah, I mean, overall I'd say that probably about a 9 out of 10 or so. Staying busy with work and Hearthstone and more Hearthstone and wait a minute, I thought I said I was doing good. Hold on. But no, appreciate you asking.
For those of you joining us for the first time, welcome aboard. We record this podcast live every Friday evening at twitch.tv/borntobewildhs, and the video version of this podcast is then posted to YouTube shortly thereafter. Audio versions are also distributed to all podcast apps. However you are watching, listening, or absorbing via osmosis this podcast today, thank you. Yes, you.
Content plug. Schmoopydady. Schmoopydady. Before we get into the main topic of the show tonight, I'd like to say a quick thank you to the patrons of our show. Your support means the world to us. If you enjoy this content, please like, comment, and subscribe to this video on YouTube. Another way to support the show is to leave a review on your podcast platform of choice. If you're watching live on Twitch, we've got some awesome emotes that you can unlock by subscribing to the channel. This is free if you use Amazon Prime, finally. If you'd like to support the show financially, you can join our Patreon for as little as $1 per month. We have some channels in the Discord that are unlocked by subscribing to the Patreon, when you can see the show coming together each week. Check it out. If you'd like to interact with us personally, please join our Discord, a free and amazing online community of friends from all across the world who love talking about wild Hearthstone. Links to all of this stuff and more, including our merch, can be found on our website, which is www.borntobewildhs.com. Guest interview.
Also, it's supposed to be pronounced Schmoopydady, like howdy, the OW.
We're going to circle back to this, by the way. We're going to circle back to all of this like spelling stuff and how it's supposed to be pronounced, especially with the Unrelated Advice.
I was about to identify some foreshadowing there as well.
Amazing.
Speaking of amazing, Mae, it is fantastic to have you back on. Please, since it's been a little while since we've had you on, can you give our listeners a refresher on who you are? Please tell us as much or as little about yourself as you would like.
Yeah, for sure. Hi everybody. For those who may have forgotten who I am or never met me, I am Tyleniphe or Mae. Most of my friends these days just call me Mae. I am a totally blind, autistic, queer, trans woman. And I play a lot of Hearthstone. Also have played other Blizzard games like Diablo 4, where I hold a series of world records. But we won't go too much into that now, although I'm happy to talk about it in detail
Nate would
at
love
another
to
time.
hear that.
But yeah, I play some standard, but these days mostly wild, which is why I'm hanging out with these three amazing role models in the wild community. So oh, and I guess I could mention that I recently have been announced as a new board member for Team Hearth League, THL, which does have
Let's
a
go.
wild series. THL is a semi-competitive Hearthstone league where you get together with a group of friends or random strangers. The board will try to find you a team if it's something that you're super interested in. And then you compete for a couple of weeks against other teams of people in a best of 5 conquest format. So you bring a couple of decks and you have a lot of fun. So definitely check that out. Come join me.
Absolutely. So what would you say has changed the most for you as a streamer, kind of since the last time we talked? Do you think strategically, community-wise, personally? We just want to catch up with you some more.
Yeah, that's a really great question. I think since the last time we talked, I've really kind of grown into finding my own identity within the community. It's kind of funny thinking about it that way because of all of the self-exploration I've done over the last year in my personal life. But when I came onto the pod last time, I'd been playing Wild for a couple of months, and I was still trying to figure out who I wanted to be when it came to content creation in the Wild space. Wasn't really sure if I wanted to be kind of like Schmoopy in some ways, where there's a lot of interaction with the community, or if I wanted to be more like, a KVLT where you're playing a lot of meta decks and you're climbing the wild ladder and you're constantly in double digits. And I kind of realized that I don't have to be one or the other, right? I can just be Mae. And so my community has really become a safe haven. It's really become a safe haven for a lot of queer folks in the community. We have probably at this point the largest group of trans folks in the Hearthstone community who constantly hang out. We stole that title from Schmoopy.
Throne has been usurped.
But we have some fun. I play some wacky off-meta stuff occasionally. And then there's times where I, put my nose to the grindstone and we climb. A couple of months ago, I was rank 14 NA and 15 EU. This month, I decided to only play NA and right now I'm parked at 190, so pretty happy with that. Considering I literally have only played about I think at this point maybe 55 games this month.
Whoa.
But it's been a lot of fun kind of figuring out who I am and what I want to do in this space. So
Excellent. I'm so glad that you have solidified your footing and identified that identity. That makes me so happy.
yeah, definitely got to say, I had to get rid of viewer decks entirely, because
It's good for mental health.
yeah, the things that some people cook, it's a lot of fun, but it is not good for my MMR. And since I do care about my MMR, when all of a sudden it's looking at like 3,000, I'm like, what are we doing? So yeah, sorry to cut you off, Sheep.
You are totally good. That actually is a pretty good segue to the next question, which is that you deal with ladder variants, chat variants, and real world nonsense. What is your mental reset routine to whenever you got rid of chat decks, because that was something for obvious reasons that you struggled with, right? Like that identifying your boundaries is important, right? So what are kind of some of your other mental reset routines too?
It's really interesting. Being autistic, I get very sensory overloaded very easily. And so usually before a stream and immediately after, I will go and sit like in my recliner, and I've got a 30-pound terrier. She's like all muscle. She's really cute. I love her. I rescued her about 2.5 years ago, and she's my little buddy. But I just kind of sit with her in my lap and snuggle her and just kind of decompress. The other thing that I will do is read a lot. I love reading. I feel that it recenters my thinking processes, but does so in a way that keeps me distracted. I'm pretty open about the fact that I've got, struggles with mental health. I've dealt with a lot of clinical depression and anxiety. And so sometimes it is not very good for me to spend a lot of time in my own thoughts. And so, I
feel that
by, picking up a book and really delving into it, whether it's, a complex book on the epistemic theory of justified true belief, or if it's something as simple as like Dungeon Crawler Carl, which is like my current favorite book series.
So much fun.
Yeah, I love it. It's like literally the best. I'll admit I've read it 4 times in the last 2 months. All 7 books.
Whoa.
But
Nice. The next one comes out in May, I think.
I think so, and I am so excited. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to start exercising again because my doctor tells me my cholesterol is too high, and it's probably something I need to start doing as well, and that's also therapeutic. So, not sure if that answers your question, but I hope so.
It absolutely did. And I was about to ask a follow-up question, but I think you preempted it of what are you reading now? But I think you're going dungeon crawling with our buddy Carl.
Well, so I actually finally decided to take a break from Mr. Carl and Princess Donut. By the way, for those who don't know, Princess Donut is a sentient cat, and she is amazing.
I was going to ask who the cat was on the cover, because I'm looking at one of the covers of Dungeon Crawler Carl right now, and there's definitely a cat
Oh
like,
my gosh,
right up
Hydra!
with this guy.
I think you would really love this book series. Like it's good, and the audiobook like narrator is incredible. So
Quite literally, a 10 out of 10 on audio quality. Honestly, I would highly recommend the audiobooks if you're going to read them.
Oh yes, I love all of the audiobooks. Like you're speaking my language. So
But
Can we
in
have
the
a moment?
meantime,
I'm sorry, May. Can we have a moment just real quick to just acknowledge that? So, like, when we're getting set up for, future Blizzard events, stuff like the theory crafting event or whatever, there's a DM that gets sent out by the, community liaison that is just like, hey, how's it going? Checking in, guys, blah, blah, blah. And so, we got that. Right, and like a big part of the theory crafting server when you go in, I don't think I'm breaking NDA saying this, is like there's like, hey, read the rules, make sure that you are all set up and you know what's going on, and we're like, it's like, right, so it's like, so I responded right away, I was like, yes, excited, I've read through the rules, but we are wild players. I can't guarantee that there's a whole lot of like actual literacy here, right? Like we don't, I read it, but that doesn't mean that I read it and it actually sunk in. That's when Sheep's pointing out, it's just like, well, I mean, we do audiobooks so that we don't have to read anything. And it's like, oh my God.
it was hilarious though, because it was like, I thought it was especially funny. I tell jokes to make myself laugh. I'm always sheep posting, right? Like,
Right.
that's always happening. So I said, audiobooks help a lot with continued literacy in the wild community.
right.
And like, so it was both a riff and legitimate insight.
that is so funny.
We digress.
Oh, that's right. So the book that I'm currently reading, I'm actually rereading the Dresden Files by Jim Butcher.
Dresden,
which are also absolutely fantastic. There's currently 18 of them.
oh my gosh, that's a lot.
More than two.
Yeah, it's a urban fantasy that takes place in modern day Chicago. And the main character is a wizard.
In
who is also
modern
a
day
private
Chicago.
detective. Yep, and there's werewolves and vampires and the Fae and
Sounds like
all
the
sorts
Dark
of
Tower.
fun stuff. It's great.
And they made a TV show. I don't like. I remember watching
It's
it on
terrible.
Netflix. Like,
Oh no.
it was terrible. I liked it. But I could see the books
Yeah, but
being
you
much
didn't read
better.
the books, right? Whenever you read the book, so I've never read this, but that's the thing. You read the book, you can't watch a show.
See,
Unfortunately.
to help you understand how much of a hater I am of movie adaptations, when I was in high school, I was super into the Twilight series. And the first movie came out, and probably about 30 minutes into the movie, I walked out of the movie theater crying. I was so upset.
Oh.
So
When my wife and I had we'd been married for less than a year. So this was like 2013 or so. So this was back in the day. She really wanted to watch the Twilight movies with me, and we made a deal that I would watch them with her happily if I could basically do like riff tracks, like Mystery Science 3000, like shenanigans. So we watched the first one and I had a blast, and she did not want to watch any of the subsequent films with me.
Oh, man. No, you gotta do. Oh, go ahead, Schmoopydady. You go first.
I have a Twilight movie story as well. My wife and I used to watch the Twilight movies, but we'd play a drinking game. And this was we were, in our 20s, early 20s.
Is it every time someone sparkles, you drink?
No. Every time Kristen Stewart makes Kristen Stewart face, we'd have to take a drink. And
That's even worse.
that was dangerous. That hurt the liver a bit.
She's
just that like vacant stare.
The whole movie.
Vacant stare. The mouth is partly open. Just like no emotions being displayed. Yes, Sheep's nailing it right now. It's hard to convey. But that's her face. No, Aramorn, it's not. Like I've seen her act in plenty of other things.
That's her face.
And like she's plenty expressive
she
in
can
other
act.
roles, but in that particular movie, it's like I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, it's like we'd be literally screaming at each other, "Drink, Kristen Stewart face," and that was all 4 movies, all 3 movies. That was us.
I've never seen any of them. I had a friend who wanted me to watch one of them, and May, you mentioned you made it maybe 30 minutes in, but you read the books. I made it maybe 30 minutes in, and I didn't read the books, and I was like, bro, no. Like, I just, like, I couldn't do it. I was like, you want to watch vampires? Like, let's go watch, like, I'll watch, like, Daybreakers or, like, Salem's Lot or, like, something. But this ain't
Interview with the Vampire.
Interview, like, for me, like, I don't
Sinners
know
wasn't
the books.
out yet, but Sinners.
I don't know the books, but for me, the movies, yeah, that wasn't it. That's for sure.
One final question.
Ooh.
What change would you like to see in the Hearthstone or in the Wild community in particular over the next year?
It's a good one.
Well, if you would have asked me this question a couple of months ago, I would have said more people using alt text in social media worlds. However, I made a big enough point about it that I'm coming across random people on Twitter within the Hearthstone community who are using alt text, and when I compliment them, they keep saying, "Oh, it's because I saw your post." So, changes.
Love to see that impact.
Yeah, it's super, super great. I guess what I would like to see is a further normalization of disability within the Hearthstone community. We run into it a lot, just in general, in society, but the Hearthstone community is a microcosm of society, and that is, a lot of people think that people with disabilities are absolutely amazing and fantastic for simply existing. And the reality is that people with disabilities are just like everybody else. Sure, we do things differently. Sometimes it's harder. That is true. Because naturally the world is not built in a way that embraces inclusive design. But at the end of the day, I wake up, I take a shower, I go to work, I cook my dinner. Sometimes I remember to run the dishwasher, oftentimes not. We won't talk about that.
Relatable.
But really what I would really love to see, that recognition that, blind people are just like everybody else. It shouldn't be amazing that, once upon a time, Mae was ranked 14 in A and 15 EU, right? At least not because I'm blind, but it's an achievement to get there regardless, right? And I'd love to see that sort of proliferate outside of the circles that I'm active in. Because I feel like, for the most part, like most of my friends at this point, like you'll hear them say like, "Oh, I forgot that you're blind," like all the time. And so like, I want that to sort of trickle out to, the rest of the community.
I have a question. So like, are you saying like, basically it's like, oh, like, I can't believe you did that. Good job. Like, you're a blind person and you did that. Like, you can't just say, congratulations, you did that. Like, you're a normal person, like, without bringing up like the fact that you were blind and you did it, right? Like, you just did it like anybody else would do it. Like, you did the thing. It's you're not trying to, like, I guess, throw in the handicap, quote unquote, of being blind. Like, you did an achievement and you're not asking for extra points because you did it with a certain disability. You did it like anybody else. Am I getting that correct?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I love head pats, but like, I shouldn't get one just because I'm a blind person who completed a task, right? One of the things that I get from a lot of people who I, interact with on the street, they're like, "Oh my God, who dressed you?" Or like, you cooked dinner? Like, you made that from scratch? Like, what the heck? And it's one of those things where like you learn to live in the world because you don't have a choice, right? You have to be able to adapt and overcome if you want to participate and be a part of society. But it kind of revolves around the expectations for what we believe is possible for people with disabilities. And I'll be talking about that a little bit more here shortly.
Cool.
Excitement abounds.
All right, Sheep. How's your week?
So used to hearing Schmoopydady say it. It feels so comforting coming from the timbre of your voice, but like different.
Okay, now I'm jealous.
Different.
You could say it. Schmoopydady, you could say it.
No, it's okay. You already said it. It's not the same anymore.
So my week was mostly pretty good. I'm gonna start off with the most exciting thing, then get into some less exciting things, and then get into another exciting thing. So
excitement abounds.
Yeah. It's an excitement sandwich even, because two exciting things and two things that are going to be fun to talk about. But so I also, like Mae, am now a THL board member too.
What are they just handing these things out? Like, what is...
No. There were three board members added, and you're talking with two of them right now.
It was an extensive interview process, by the way. I made the joke, but NHL was talking about how stressful it was trying to find the right people to do the job, and I think NHL, having known two of the people, did a wonderful job of gathering those two people. So, I had to make the joke, but.
One of the questions was like, does Patches still have charge? Right? Was that one of the questions?
No, that actually was not one of the questions.
I'm kidding.
So it was actually about a 3 hour, 4 hour long thing. Like
wow. That's what I was gonna say. 4 hours.
Yeah, it was funny. Like I told my wife, like, hey, I'm gonna go up and do this THL interview, like making sure she's good to watch the kiddo, all those good things. And 2 hours, she's like, are you still doing that thing? I'm like, yeah, it's going really well, but it's pretty intense. So all to your point, Schmoopy, that it was a pretty intense process, and enjoyable, but it was, yeah.
That's
an
amazing.
achievement.
Well, congratulations. That's a huge achievement.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations to you both.
I don't know if you can hear it in my voice still, but I had another cold. So like on Saturday morning, like I woke up with this cold, and it got progressively worse, and now it's mostly better. Or I would not be here talking with y'all. I'd be like, y'all, you don't want to talk to me right now. Like I'm coughing and sneezing all the time. And
The little lamb's putting your immune system through the ringer.
Dude, they're
when people say that daycare is a petri dish, yeah, that's a real thing.
Days. It is
horrifying.
I think I'm on the other side of it. Like every now and then, like you'll see me with a tissue, but like I'm still a little more nasally than normal, but oh my goodness, so much better. Another exciting thing happened today, but I was not home for it. I heard this whenever I got home. So they've been doing construction like on the street in my house, like outside of our houses, like here for like months. They're essentially excavating the sewer system and doing something with that. Well, today they did something, and apparently it made the water in all of the toilets like shoot up.
Oh no. I read the show notes right before you started talking, and I was like, exploding toilets.
So like my wife went through and like, closed all the toilet lids and everything like that afterwards. But like one of them like shot up and like got her in the eye after she had shut it like down.
That's how you get pink eye.
Right? So like that was an exciting thing that happened today, and I don't know that most people would
Get shot by their toilet.
yeah. So that was exciting to hear about. Hopefully they'll be done with construction soon too.
Take advantage
of it. Oh my gosh. Free bidet.
Yeah, right? Like, why not? It's hilarious.
The other exciting / happy thing that happened, and this one happened in the last 24 hours. So I found out that I was named a THL board member actually back when we did the bread and butter episode. Like I thought that we were going to be able to announce like shortly thereafter, but timelines changed. Things happen. And then we found out later that what our timeline was, and it was like, oh, okay. So that's why I was like, oh, an exciting thing coming. Then it was announced on Monday. So this other thing happened in the past 24-ish hours. So I hit Legend and Standard like yesterday evening. It was probably like, it was after I got home before I put the kiddo to bed. So it was a little earlier than now. So not the past 24 hours. But then on my lunch break, I hit Legend in our format of Wild as well. So but both of those on NA. I'm in like Diamond 3 Standard, and I'm not sure where in Wild on EU. The Wild deck that I had is less competitive now, and that's my free-to-play account. And my Standard deck is actually what I hit Legend with in Standard. So like, obviously I've been climbing in Standard there instead.
I have a question.
Yes.
Are you sticking to the advice that we give our listeners on your free-to-play accounts of not dusting cards that are rotating into wild?
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
cool. Just checking.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm that account is going to grow in my wild collection because I craft for wild. I open cards for standard because trying to open cards for wild is a poor choice.
Yeah, 100%.
So I open cards for standard, which is why I have a little bit more of a standard collection, but the crafting takes a little bit longer to craft different decks. So if I was just like going all in on one format and, whatever, I would just like disenchant stuff. But I want this account to last, right? So yeah, completely agreed. So Hagatha Shaman is what I did the thing with in standard. I have that and an aggro demon hunter. I've actually kind of switched over to that for my EU standard climb. And then in wild, I hit it with my version of a Libram Paladin. It's not a good deck. The version that I did of it is at least not a good deck. I was telling Schmoopydady earlier, it has the Interstellar Wayfinders in it. So like, it's suboptimal, but I want to play those cards. So I'm playing those cards because they were just buffed and I want to do it. So that's what I was doing. And I hit legend with in our format over lunch. So, whenever I said like, oh, it'll be less than an hour, it was less than an hour.
Nice.
So that's kind of been my week. It's been, super highs and some painful recovery from some. Oh my gosh, I had like a seriously bad nosebleed as part of this one too. Like it was pretty intense. Yeah, that's why I said painful, because it went on for far too long. To hitting legend. So that's been the week in Sheepville. I've never said that before. Hydra, how's it going with you, bud?
So I've been reading You Like It Darker. It's like a 2022-ish release by Stephen King that is a short story novella collection. So there's like 2 novellas in it that are like 200 pages each, and then the rest are short stories. And so the 2 novellas, one is this one, what's it called? It's called Danny Coughlin's Bad Dream. It is one of the best things I've read in a really long time. Like, out of all the stuff I've read of King's stuff recently, like this one is topping my list. And it's in that collection. It's really, really good. So I won't say too much about it, but I absolutely love it. And then I'm reading the second novella, which is in that collection, which is called Rattlesnake. And Rattlesnake is a sequel to like 1982, if that's the year it came out, I'm guessing, Cujo. So it's a sequel to Cujo. And it's kind of like a Where Are They Now with the people from Cujo. And if you've ever read that book, that may interest you. Cujo is like
cool, Joe.
Everyone just thinks of that book as just like a scary dog, right? There's so much more to it. When I first read that book, it blew my mind how good that book was. And it's kind of cool to catch up with the characters. Now I'm about, I'd say 70% through this collection and You Like It Darker. So far it's like on the like highly recommend list. Absolutely, for sure. One of the biggest things recently is, I think I mentioned this, is Mini Hydra. He got his driver's license. So he's like not just with his learners now, like he actually has his driver's license, and he gets in my truck and he just drives away. So when we started the podcast today, my wife, she's like, I want to go to Walmart. And he's like, okay, I guess I'll drive you to Walmart. And they just got in and they drove away, and just watching them leave. And it's strange to me because I'm the driver of the family. I'm the guy that drives, and just like seeing like my truck just leave, like standing looking out the window. It's so weird. It's like the strangest thing. And like I told him, I was like, stop at the gas station, put some gas in. He's like, what? We're gonna put gas in? Like, yeah, buddy. Yeah, you gotta put gas in. I'm not paying for insurance and gas. Come on. You gotta contribute. It's kind of funny, but that's a big one. So that's changing life around here. It's sort of weird when your kids grow up. Like, he's 17 years old. It's very strange. I think he was 11 when we started this podcast. So things have changed.
Whoa.
10 or 11. Yeah. So I got 2 vacations coming up, which I'm super excited for. So the annual spring break, which I've talked about each year, is coming up. That's where we do like the scavenger hunt and all like the minute to win it games and everything.
Yeah, nice.
We've been doing that since my son was a little kid. And like,
What was it? Taskmaster themed last year?
yes, last year was Taskmaster themed, and that was you remembered. Yeah, it's so funny.
It sounded
Mrs.
like
Hydra,
so much fun. Of course I did.
Yeah, it was so good. It was so good, and so it's so funny. Mrs. Hydra wants to do like Taskmaster themed again. I'm like, no, you got to change it. She's like, but it's so good, such a good show. We should do it again. We have like a month to go until spring break happens. So, and we haven't put in like anything together. So I thought it would be funny to maybe do joke gifts, like, hold on, he's not listening. To like, like buy him like a liter of oil, or like an oil filter and like a funnel, like stuff like that, right? Like an air filter, like things like that. You know, that aren't that expensive for a vehicle, but because he's driving now, right? And give him that, but then like give him a real gift later on. Just like a bunch of practical, hey, you're driving now, sort of gifts.
He's
But
like,
I don't know.
Thanks. Like trying to be happy, but like you can tell it's forced, kind of a thing. Like I can totally see that happening.
Do you want to buy your own motor oil?
And you're like 8 and it's Christmas and you're like, oh,
Exactly. That is what I'm going for, but on purpose. Yes. That exact feeling. But I'm sure we'll get him something nice. I won't say the nice things on air in case he's listening. He does not watch or listen to the podcast anymore. He used to. When he's like, oh, my dad's on a podcast. That's so cool. And he would listen to it, and I think he got sick of it once he quit playing Hearthstone. He quit when patches still had charge. Let's put it that way.
Wow.
It's been a minute. Yeah. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. The next vacation that we have coming up it's going to be in April, and we're taking off again on the big ferry that I was talking about that we try to go on, and we're going over to Vancouver Island. We're going to go to Victoria. That's where my wife is from, and we're going to stay downtown. We're going to get a somewhat fancy hotel and like stay like mid downtown and just be able to go to like the local pubs, go to the ocean, see the whales, like do all that sort of thing. Super stoked for that. My new job is amazingly gracious with the time off that I take, which is pretty good because I've had to take a lot off recently, like for, you know, like family medical reasons and all that sort of stuff. And so I was a little nervous asking for certain things like the spring break and this upcoming thing where we're going to go to Vancouver Island and go to the capital of British Columbia, which is Victoria. But they're like, yeah, cool. Give her. So sweet. Like super stoked about that. And then last but not least, I've been talking to Saucy Mailman recently. And Saucy If you guys remember, I'm sure there are people in chat, the diehards, remember Saucy Mailman, who used to be a host of Into the Wild for quite some time and used to be a guest on Born to Be Wild. So Born to Be Wild evolved from Into the Wild. If you...
A friend of both of ours who we now live so close, but now I have a kid and it's like, dude, I need to go down to Denver and see Saucy one day. But
by the way, I don't know if you've seen his avatar on his Discord account. His beard is shaved off in his avatar.
I saw that he shaved it a while ago. What?
And yeah. Anyway, so last time he was on, he was on episode 200 for us, and we're on what, 279? It's been a minute since he was on. But anyways, I got some of his coffee because that's what he does now, right? Like he's a full-time coffee dude. And I bought this stuff. It's the Necromancer one from Dragon Roast, like the one that he has. Oh my gosh.
That one's good.
Have you tried the Necromancer sheep? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, a while ago I had like a variety pack, so it was smaller portions of them, but it was like the Necromancer, the Druid,
that's smart.
And one of the others, so it was 3. It was before the like rotational one or whatever other one.
There's a Paladin one too. Oh my gosh.
Paladin was the other one that I had. Yeah.
This one is like, I mean, it's like a dark one. It's got like a chocolatey flavor with like some like dried fruit or something. I don't know. It's good. It's good. Also, I didn't get the crazy like coffee shakes that like I get from, I know most of our listeners aren't from Canada, but if I drink like a black coffee from Tim Hortons, I get like the coffee shakes, like this anxiety sweat and coffee shakes that I don't know if they put drugs in that, but I feel like they do. This was just good. I was just awake. I was alert and I liked it. And it tasted good because I don't put sugar or anything in my coffee. I just drink it like the way she comes out in the pot. But yeah, it was absolutely amazing. And I enjoyed it. I want to try the other ones as well. I should ask Saucy about the sample pack. But
that's what I got back in the day. It was very good. They were all really good. I don't drink coffee anymore. I've cut out most caffeine. I know, heresy. But if I did, then I would, that's the coffee I would drink.
Oh, one more point is, so you know how you get like, you're thinking like an Amazon package and the package is branded? Yeah. It came in like a bubble wrap thing that has this Dragon Roast coffee on it. I didn't expect that. Like
I can't remember exactly what mine came in because it was like a little boxy type thing, but it was branded too. Like he did a really good job of it. Yeah.
No, it's pretty sweet. Anyway, enough about my week. Schmoopydady, how was your week?
So I just had that week-long break, right? And like last episode, I was talking about how like, oh yeah, it was like one of those really cool breaks where like you kind of lose track of what day it is and you get a lot of rest and you get to sleep in. So for where I am in the world, we had a nor'easter come and hit the East Coast, and it's funny where I'm placed because the snow hit and I am just north and just west enough that we got basically a love tap. Like I got like maybe 2 inches on my driveway, which was nothing, but my workplace got like 16. So like, you know, Shmi, Mommy and I are both working in the same school right now. So like, it was funny because like, it's like, okay, so, all right, we got 2 inches. We got Monday off on top of the break. That's pretty cool. All right. And then Tuesday rolled around and they were still cleaning up. And it was the thing about this snowstorm versus the other big snowstorm we had this year. The other big snowstorm we had this year, it was very cold. Like the temperature was in the 20s. So it was powder and it stayed powder, right? Like it was there was a lot of it, but it was light and it was easy to remove. And Hydra, I don't know if you got to board at all on this last snow that just fell, but it's been in like the mid 30s. And it's just kind of, it's just kind of like wet and heavy. And the other stuff that fell that was powder is now just like pebbles of ice. So there's like this layer of like crusty, pebbly ice. And then the new stuff's on top of it. And it's not really powder because it's got a little bit of wetness to it. So it's just like, I was glad there wasn't much more of it because moving it would have been a pain in the butt. So I get why we got 2 snow days, but Schmoopy and Jodder did not have snow days. And so it's very rare that we don't have school, but our kids do. But
that's weird.
But
like,
my son was pissed. My son was like jealous and mad. He was like,
why do the high school students get the day off, but elementary kids don't?
Well, because we live far enough away. We're in a different district entirely.
So you guys were an exception because of your distance of a drive. The school wasn't
correct.
off.
There's like a mountain range.
Okay.
There's basically functionally there's a mountain.
Yeah.
There's a mountain between where we work and where we live, and we're in a certain weather corridor where 9 times out of 10 we're getting more snow than where I'm located, for my workplace. But so it was like, it's like, yeah, that's we don't have to go. For the kids. And Schmoopy's like, but like you're gonna be having so much fun at home, and it's like, no, we're gonna be cleaning the house because we won't have 2 kids bugging us. And we did do that. We did some of that. But what was kind of cool was on that snow day Tuesday, I actually streamed during the day because I never get to, and weirded a bunch of people out because they said I looked like a bro. The lighting was completely different. So like, you know, your outline is different. And also, my Star Machine had nothing to do because, like, you know, it's not like my whole ambiance is like a $60 Star Machine I bought at Hot Topic in, like, I don't know, 2014, 2013. Like, it's just maybe 2011. Like, it's just it's not an advanced, you know, setup, but I was unhappy with how my old lighting set was set up because it was kind of like, you know, just me dimly lit in front of my computer, and then behind me is whatever the hell my kids were doing in the room, right? Like whatever disaster they had just like wrecked. And so I was just like, no, you know, I'll do this and see how it looks. And I was happy with how it looked on camera. But like that wasn't operating during the day because it would have no effect. And so people are like, wait, you're not in space right now? I thought you were on like a space station.
Where'd your spaceship go, dude?
Where'd your spaceship go, man? I was like, I'm on Earth. I'm like in New York.
It's a starship. What a spaceship.
My kids are at school and I'm not. Ha, suckers. On the Hearthstone note, I hit late legend in both Asia and EU. I was like, it's really tough sometimes when you have the information that changes to wild are coming, but you don't know when they're happening, and you're not 100% sure what they're going to be, but like, you know, we do get some insight too sometimes as to like what future balance patches are going to look like. And so like, I kind of knew, but I can't say that I know, and I'm holding off, and I'm just sort of like, you know, you're just sort of there, just sort of just treading water, just pedaling along. And so I was really waiting for balance changes before I finished my 2 climbs, because I really didn't want to play against any more Egg Warlock than I needed to in my life. So I waited, Fair enough. Then they happened. And then I said, oh, I've only got like 3 days left. So 2 days ago, I started on Asia because I thought that would be the most arduous because I have an 11x bonus. And so, like, sometimes getting queues at the end of the month with an 11x bonus is a disaster. So it's like, okay, I better let's just like knock out Asia. Let's get that in there now. So I hit Legend off stream with that on Asia. I played a budget Treant Druid list. No floop. 2 Mark the Lotuses. I got a neon tweet for it. I came in at 150, which was really awesome. Way higher than I expected. My win rate was nuts. Like, I was facing nothing that was... I was queuing into warriors and beating the warriors. Like, it was just... I was doing no wrong. The deck feels very strong right now. On my stream, normally on NA, I've been trying... I put in Filtrophobe... Filtrophobe asked for a Treant Druid list, and I'm trying a Treant Druid list that has Floop in it. And what's really funny is the change that I made to the Treant Druid list is the same change that Corbett made. So I recently like looked up what Corb says was his Treant Druid list. I'm like, oh, this is like my list. We came to the same collection of cards. Who could have foreseen that? That doesn't
awesome.
happen often. So I'm playing a list with Floop there in my Survivor series, which is like, chat submits me, sends decks to me, 2 losses, they're out. And Treant Druid qualified. Treant Druid is legal. And so I was like trying that because I was just like, you know what, Filtrophobe, like knowing how good Floop is, he basically has to be in the deck. He's basically core. Looking at the stats on HS Guru, but budget deck, I don't have him yet. On Asia. So I hit on Asia without Floop, and then I hit yesterday on EU with Floop, and my God, when you have Floop, your cultivations are so much more playable, so much more often that I'm dropping cultivation on like my turn 3 pop-offs. Like it's imagine going like 5, 6, 7 treants wide on like turn 3, and then they're all 4/4s. What like, over 2 turns, I'm basically always smorking the opponent down, and there's always a possibility that like if I'm able to play cultivation as early as turn 3, in the subsequent turns it's going to cost like either 1 or 0, right? So like I could even double it up with Moonlit Guidance if things play out correctly. So that was I did EU yesterday. I came in at 644 on EU with Floop, but the games with Floop were like, it was just like night and day. Like my pop off that got me my legend run was one of those like, oh, I'm playing cultivation on turn 3 and I have like 6 treants and they're all 6/6s now. Hooray. So like that deck feels awesome right now. I would definitely suggest it to anybody. It feels like a deck that's strong enough that it could get nerfed. Like, it wouldn't shock me if you told me that Treant Druid gets nerfed in the future specifically because of Treant Druid. Just like its pattern of play, the early stats. People don't like playing against the Miracle-y aspect stuff. Like, I could totally see it getting.
That's what makes it interesting, though.
Yeah, like it's fun, but like when it works, it's almost unfair. So like I could see it. I could see it.
It's wild.
Yeah, I could see it getting balanced at some point. And chat's telling me, like, there's no way. Like, Treant Druid's just never going to take off like that. Because I think it's got a connotation still now that, like, it's either a meme deck or it's like, it dies to 1 board clear. I think we can kind of dodge the board clears for now. With some of the new cards coming out in the expansion, I don't know if that's going to be the case. I'm going to have to probably switch to a new deck. But I'm excited for next month happening over the weekend because, my climbs next month, at least I feel like I've got a guaranteed shot at Easy Legend. Might take a shot at, like, trying to get early number 1 on Asia next month, actually. Like, I'm not sure when Asia resets, but... I'm already of 11x MMR. I entered at 150, and it's the end of the month. I'm in that range of, like, if I hit before everyone else, and I'm the first one in Legend, or near the one of the first people in Legend, it could be me. So maybe I give it a shot for my 1 rank 1, and then that's one thing off my bucket list that I never, ever, ever, ever have to attempt ever again.
Also, don't forget the priests are going to be reducing their own health to 15 pretty soon. So, you know, you can just get them with that Treant Druid even easier.
Not if they're playing a quest on turn 1. If they're playing a quest on turn 1, they have access to 1 mana, 4 AoE on turn 2. So we'll see. May, how was your week?
My week has been alright. As I mentioned very early on, I've been working a lot. Recently my company has laid off a ton of folks, and unfortunately my team got hit, and all of their work became my work. So I took on the work of 2 extra people on top of all the stuff I was already doing. Which has made me a very tired May. And so I've been
I bet.
Doing lots of snuggle time with my puppy, and trying not to cry myself to sleep. But in the world of Hearthstone, I can say that I've had a little bit of fun recently. As I mentioned, this month I've only played something like 55 games, maybe, which is very different from my usual. My usual average is between 200 and 300 a month. And part of it was I was sick and tired of Egglock. It made the games very one-dimensional, and I know there's people out there who really like the deck. I am not one of them. It puts me to sleep. And so I was very happy to see Egglock go away and Burnlock become a little less prevalent, and absolutely devastated that Yasiel was hit, because Dunkar Druid was like my depression happiness deck. There's nothing like that dopamine hit of playing a bazillion cards in one turn and possibly maybe missing lethal and being really sad. But when you get it, it's so exciting. You're like, oh my god, I found the lethal. Those decks are all gone though. And so I've been spending a little bit of time trying to figure out, all right, now that those are gone, what do I play? And so I kind of went back to the basics a little bit. For me, I've been playing a little bit of Hostage Mage, which is always fun for me.
It's fun for somebody.
I'm emphasizing the fun for me. I've also been playing a lot of Fatigue Demon Hunter, and let's see, what else have I been playing? Seedlock. The list that I took to rank 14 and 15 is now relevant again, and so I'm trying to relearn how to play it because I have forgotten. And occasionally throw in a Mill Druid because, chat likes to watch it, so can't win with it very often. Although I did get a win off of Get Meowth the other day, which it felt nice. For me, anyway.
Poor Matt.
I get that.
But it's been really kind of cool because, like, for the last month, I've been really struggling to not just be interested in the game, but really to climb as well. I've been kind of sitting around 300-ish for most of the month, and most of last month, and most of the month before that. And even though I finished rank 323 in January, I did not get an 11x bonus, and I was super salty about it. But I thought surely finish top
pretty close.
I would
7%.
have
You
thought
should
so
get
too,
it.
for what
Yeah.
it's worth.
I was
Yeah.
really sad. But since Dungar has gone away and I haven't been able to play that, or I mean, I guess you could still technically play it, but like I'm not doing that.
Mhm.
And since Egglock is gone and Burnlock is gone, I've been steady climbing. As I mentioned, I didn't hit Legend until February 23rd. I came in at 420, and then since
Nice.
then, I've climbed all the way up to 190, and I am parking
Nice.
my caboose, and I'm not moving. I'm not playing the game. We are going to sit right at 190, and hopefully this time I'll make my climb a little less painful next month. We'll see. Yeah, that's been my week.
Nice.
Welcome to the news. The news is so good.
We have some news, starting with patch 34.6.2 and primarily consisting thereof. Patch 34.6.2 launched on Tuesday with balance changes to standard, wild, and battlegrounds. So, of course, like I typically say, unfortunately, we are not really plugged into the battlegrounds meta, but if you are interested in hearing about battlegrounds, feel free to check out our friends over at Blizzlet. Just, that's a little bit more of an R-rated podcast than our like PG-13. So as long as you know that, you'll be good. So, aside on battlegrounds, we are going to skip those later. Hearthstone updates. And I'm just going to straight up read the dev comment because I feel like when we don't, we miss a lot of the contextualization, and however much I feel like reading it all sometimes feels like funny and forced. So it does help contextualize things. Like their comment makes sense. So, well met. We've loved seeing the excitement around the Hearthstone spotlight and what's ahead with Cataclysm. It's in all caps. I'm going to read it like that every time. If you haven't already, maybe not exactly like that, but I'm going to try. If you haven't already, make sure to check out the free goodies in the Dragon's Hoard and claim your login reward. Master Blackhorn, who has already begun making waves in the meta. Spoiler alert, he's nerfed. Where Master Blackhorn offers an early taste of Cataclysm. Devastation. The apostrophe S was not capitalized, so I did not enunciate that the same way.
Plural isn't as aggressive.
Precisely. And he may have brought a little too much of it. We've seen some players love his power, while others have found facing him frustrating. I love the alliteration there. We enjoy cards that spark strong reactions and see plenty of play, but Blackhorn has proven to be a little bit too impactful. To address this, we are adjusting him to only destroy cards in decks, preserving the destructive identity while allowing for more back and forth gameplay. Your hand doesn't get blown up too. Makes sense. In Wild, these changes target a handful of decks that have become too common or that create especially sharp play patterns. Updates to Discard Warlock keep the archetype intact while lowering its power and consistency. Changes to Egg Warlock slow its strongest turns. And an adjustment to Ysael Druid combo strategy reduces games ending in a single explosive turn. Or, from Barnes. I think that's the big hit there, right? Looking ahead, a much larger balance update is planned for 35.0, alongside rotation and core set updates. we look forward to sharing more details soon.
Before you scroll off of that, I just want to say one sentence, if you scroll back up a little bit, that kind of, right there, that struck me as interesting was because they're always talking about, oh, we want to make the power level equal and we want to be like the best balancers in the entire world. This sentence, we enjoy cards that spark strong reactions and see plenty of play. So they're doing it on purpose.
I mean,
right?
kind of.
Like,
it's kind of what it sounds like.
It's always like, we didn't expect this card to be overplayed, so we're going to dumb it down. They're just straight up like, yeah, we like to put something out there, you know, that's going to piss people off, and it's going to be overpowered, it's going to be overplayed, and people will craft it, and then we'll nerf it. Like, it totally seemed, it's just kind of funny that, like,
at least this one was given away, but that's kind of how it read. Yeah.
Like, it's like very transparent. Like, yeah, guess what? Sometimes, what's the saying? Like, I'd like to watch to see the world burn.
I want to watch.
Anyway, continue. I just thought that one sentence was hilarious. It was like this admission of guilt of like, yeah, sometimes we just do that.
Well, speaking of that War Master Blackthorn, we're starting off in standard. And since it won't be too terribly long, gonna go ahead and do that. It's only one card. That's War Master Blackthorn. Used to battle cry, destroy all cards that cost 2 or less in both players' hands and decks. Now it's just both players' decks. Still a 7 mana 6/6. Still a battle cry. So, thoughts on the Blackthorn hit? I mean, I've still seen it. It's been less obtrusive, less disruptive. So that's been very nice to see that not I'm not typically the one playing this card though. So I think that also is an impact of me being pretty happy with this one. What are y'all's thoughts? I know that Schmoopy's run into it more than I have. I don't know Hydra's experience though.
I mean, I could go first if Schmoopydady wants to go on.
Yeah, no, go.
Rant about first. This. Yeah, so it's in both players' decks, right? So that definitely changes things. Like at this point in time, like if you were an aggro deck and you're just like top decking and wrecking, right? Like you probably got nothing in your hand anyway, and it's just sort of seals the deal. Right? Like if they get to play this and you drop it, now the rest of your deck is dead. You weren't holding onto cards in your hand anyways for your aggro deck. So I don't think it changes much for that. It depends on, I guess, what you're seeing, but if it's still destroying everything in your deck and you're going for combo, this is still a destroyer of worlds when it comes to your combo decks, whatever your combo may be. So I think that for aggro, this is still rude, but you're probably losing anyway unless you're like getting this out early. But it's still a wrecker against aggro. Sorry, for combo, it's definitely wrecking what you have. For aggro, I think you probably, like I said, like you probably lost the game anyway, but now your deck is just gone at this point. Like your deck is gone, you've lost the game. Now you've really lost the game. Because like anything you could draw at this point it is definitely over. Like you are done at this point. Schmoopydady, what do you think?
So what's funny is the most popular deck at like High Legend played this week was Reno Druid. in part because of trying out this card, which is Reno Druid is a natural place where that would, slot right in. So a lot of people were playing Reno Druid, and a lot of people were playing this card, and a lot of people were playing this card very early and basically sending it out and smoking people's, everything's, because whether this is a combo deck, aggro deck, or control deck with a combo finish that relies on low cost pieces, in my opinion, this effect was too strong. I hated this card. I think I called this card last week the worst designed card since Reno Lone Ranger. I was not happy when this card came out. I will say that if they are going to change this card, if this card has to exist, and that's on my side of the spectrum, this is also some people's favorite card ever. That's the other side of the spectrum. If we're going to meet in the middle, this seems like a good meet in the middle spot, right? Like, is it impacting play? Yes. Are you still going to scam some games, and your pile of poorly constructed cards is going to win some games that it probably shouldn't? Yes. All that being said, if this has to exist, and I have no choice but to accept it as now being something I have to entertain, from now into eternity in the wild format, yeah, all right, fine. This is a good place for this to land, in my opinion. So I did like this part of how they handled that.
It's funny how fast it went. Like that, this did not take long.
I am really shocked, especially because it was so beloved by a lot of people, right? Like I know Zeddy was a huge fan. I know Hobbs is a huge fan. Like there's some this is one of the all-time. This might go up there with like Renathal of being like, it had an opportunity to be up there with Renathal as far as like most popular cards of all time. People love Renathal. People play Renathal and all sorts of things. Sometimes they even shouldn't play Renathal in, but Renathal's broken, so that's a very small list. But yeah, this was up there of just like, oh my God, that's my favorite card. And now, if it has to exist, this is a fine form for it to exist in.
I hate it.
You still hate it after the nerf?
I do. I would like it to have, instead of what it is, just delete 2-cost stuff like Geist, but for 2-cost, and like make it like spells or something. I feel that like when it gets played, it tilts the game too far in one direction, and it sort of plays into the play pattern that I don't like, and that is mindless slamming of cards. I really like my card games to be engaging. I'm building to a conclusion, or, I've spent all this time doing something. Not I slam down one card and poof, all of a sudden, your deck is gone. Or like in the case of like, in Standard, for example, you have your cycle rogue, and all of your stuff is really cheap, and all of a sudden, this one card comes down and you've lost everything.
Yeah.
I don't know. I tend to agree with Schmoopy's interpretation when the card first came out. I don't think that it's a good card, and I don't know. I personally don't think it should have ever been designed.
I mean, it's a good card, but it's a bad card.
Yeah.
It's too good. It's too good is the problem.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of... Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, I've been seeing a lot of takes on some of the socials where folks are saying, it's so much better now because at least you have your combo cards in hand. And that can be true. I know that there are instances where somebody is playing Borlock and somebody slams down this card and they're like, oh, I disrupted your board
Oh.
combo, and they've got it in hand, and they're like, haha, just kidding, lol. You still, lose to the Sword of a Thousand Truths.
You made my
like-
draw better. I don't draw small cards anymore.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Agreed. The effect is still very powerful. I've still seen the card, and I hope to not see it ubiquitously going forward.
I've never seen it in my life, Sheep.
Boom, boom.
Well, we also got some wild changes, starting with Soul Barrage. Soul Barrage, as you all knew, was a 5-mana shadow spell for Warlock that read, when you play or discard this, usually discard this, deal 5 damage randomly split among all enemies. It has been nerfed to be 4 mana. Wait, that sounds like a buff. When you play or discard this, deal 5 damage randomly split among all enemies. So the damage went down by 1 too. Of course, the big thing here is that it being 5 meant that we could consistently discard this with Expired Merchant and the new weapon, and we could ensure that was happening by it being that 5 mana. So 4 mana is now a much trickier breakpoint, because if you have the weapon itself is 4, or the what do you call them? The 4 mana 3/3s that are actually 0 mana, like those ones.
It's a clever nerf.
It really is. I still see Soul Barrage. I've still seen it today whenever I hit Legend. I still saw burn locks, but it seemed like they were built differently. I didn't see the weapon, for example. I saw a lot more glacial shards, interestingly, in that deck. So it's being built differently, not as consistently, not as you can't run those at least as many 4 mana cards to essentially ensure that you continue to get that guaranteed discard from those discard effects that you're looking for. So, still saw the 3 mana 3/3 that tutors only this, right? I'm bad with card names. But that draws a shadow spell, and you have an extra copy, and it's temporary, so it discards at the end of the turn. So there was still that loop going on. But I haven't played this yet. So I think that there could be some iteration on what a burn lock kind of looks like, that maybe, if someone figures that out, maybe they'll, kind of crack the code. But I feel like you have to build it differently if you're doing that. And it's much more limiting. And I think that's a good thing for something that has been, at the very least, super popular for quite a while. I'm gonna throw us for a loop and go to Schmoopy next. Schmoopy, tell me what you think about the Soul Barrage banishment. Not quite, but nerf.
It's a really nuanced nerf, and it's an almost impossible nerf to sell, because I think the first knee-jerk reaction you saw on a lot of sites like Reddit was, this is not a strong enough nerf. This is still going to be played everywhere. And they even mentioned in the patch notes, if you're paying attention, that they specifically did not try to kill disco. This is supposed to be a tap. So you have to go in with your expectations of just okay, do they want to kill the card, or did they kill the card?
Wild readers can't read. We know that.
That is true.
Right.
That is true. I think the theme of this balance patch for Wild was, don't kill the card, even though your sale looks pretty bad. Don't kill the card, but just leave it playable. And knocking down the Soul Barrage from 5 mana to 4. Sheep already mentioned the consistent merchant discard. You're not playing a 4 mana 4/3 weapon that discards your highest cost card in your hand. That thing is bananas. That thing's one of the best discard warlock cards to ever be printed, full stop. So, like, I've seen people been like, well, now we cut the fists. It's like, no, my God, no. No, you have to cut stuff like Coyote. You have to cut stuff like Fellwing. You have to top
Never
off
cut
at 4.
Fellwing, that's the 4 mana 3/3.
Yeah, sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, you've got to like see how many like 3s and 1s and 2s you want to go. Do you want to go more of a discard outlet type situation? Do you want to go with more of a death rattle outlet where you're trying to get your chip damage in a little bit more efficiently? I think the deck becomes a lot harder to build and pilot and refine. Just because just the sheer nature of like dropping it that 1 mana is actually makes it so much harder to plan out your lists, and also makes lists more punishing when you just decide to mindlessly just jam the same 30 cards regardless of whether or not they get nerfed or not, which we all know as aggro players here. And May, I don't know if you've done this either, where you've just like, you know, at some point during your Hearthstone career, ignored nerfs and just played your 30 aggro list the absolute same. I think everybody does it at some point when they're a player.
And sometimes that's honestly the correct thing. Not in this case, because this nerf changes it significantly. Yeah. It looks like it doesn't, but it really, really does.
And that's just like the deck building part. So like I love when people get punished for bad deck building. Like my streaming has given me trauma. The second thing that is not completely insignificant is the 1 drop in damage. Like people look at it as a 1 drop in damage and they see a 1 drop in damage and they're just like, oh well, who cares? Yes, but this is a card that we're repeatedly casting over the game multiple times. It's the whole win condition. So now you're talking about like 1 bit of damage. Now you cast it twice, now it's 2 bit of damage. You cast it 3 times, now it's 3 damage. Cast it 4 times, now it's 4 damage. And like, I don't know about how you guys about how many times I've died to even lethal, you know, against burn locks, but like they don't get that even lethal anymore. Now it's they're off by 2, they're off by 3, they're off by however many soul barrages they played that game, with an additional complication of dealing 6. There's 2 targets: the opponent's face and the opponent's 3/3. You deal 6. Odds are, most likely, you're gonna clear that 3/3.
To kill the 3/3, yeah,
and it's gone.
If it's a 3/4, it's kind of like a something has to go right for you, but it's possible, right?
It's possible.
Like,
and now with it only dealing 5 to all enemies, there are boards, and I was playing this the other night. I was like, there are boards where all of a sudden now you've got like 3 1s sticking, 2 1s sticking. And Burnlock, if it's not dealing as much damage from hand with the Soul Barrages, it needs to get that chip damage in from the board somehow. So you can't completely ignore your board. And like this is, and so like this nerf is not just hitting in one particular dimension, being like, let's say the deck building or the damage output or pattern of play. It's hitting all 3, but not in a way where it's completely destructive to the card. It's actually really nuanced and kind of clever. I don't know. Let's go. I'll keep going around the same circle. May, what were you thinking? And then we'll
I'm right there with you. I think that there's opportunity to build around it. But I think that it definitely changes the dynamic of the deck. My first thought when I logged in was, oh, thank God I'm not going to see any more Burnlock. And then I instantly queued into somebody cooked an XL Burnlock or Disco Burnlock. And so it had like all of the Disco cards and also all of the Burnlock cards. And it was actually pretty decent.
That's fine.
But it's just, you know, a different take on what we were doing before. you no longer are running your coyotes and you're not running your fell wings because it interferes with your soul barrage. You've got to build it a lot leaner to the ground, and I don't know. I find it to be a little bit more interesting that way. Because you're having to be a little bit intentional about how you are approaching your burn turns. Kind of what you were saying earlier, Schmoopy, about the one damage mattering. I was just thinking, like, there's so many times where I think, oh, I can't possibly die from 29, or I can't possibly die from 28. And then they have exact lethal. And that's not going to be the case anymore. And that, to me, is kind of cool.
Big agree. Hydra, what do you think, buddy?
Yeah, so excellent points all around. Sheep, you talking about it being not the highest cost card in your hand, to be discarded. That's kind of like the main focal point. That's what people are looking at. And I like Schmoopydaddy's point of bringing up the fact that it is doing one less damage. People don't think that's that big of a deal. For me, as someone who has played a lot of aggro, I'm really used to being able to, and even if you're playing other types of decks, chip damage I think is underrated. And so for me, what I thought about this was that while this is something you're doing throughout the game, missing that one damage once, twice, three times, however many it is, technically that's in replacement of chip damage you would get playing another deck, right? Or like whatever style, whatever archetype you're doing, because chip damage over the game, whether it's a hero power to the face as mage, that's a thing, right? Like we're trying to get there. Chip damage is more important, and I think it is underrated, and people don't see it that way. And this is basically the same thing, but in a different form. You're missing that one damage multiple times over the game, and that is going to lose you the game, even though it seems like it's just, one less damage on this card. But that's that thing. Chip damage is cumulative across the game, right? And it's the same thing by this card going down by one damage. So it's in my opinion the same thing, which makes it much worse.
Yeah, you remember when we were talking about like the flex spot in what in Burnlock, and like I was naming a couple different things. Neophyte is what Corb was on right then. Fist of Jiraxis was one of the things that I was floating. I wouldn't be floating Fist anymore for Soul Barrage, because Soul Barrage is 4, right? Like
Yeah.
that whenever you mention the different card choices, that was one of those that I was brought back to our conversation weeks, months, what is time ago. Well, a different Warlock archetype also got hit by a neutral card getting hit, and that is Spirit Singer Umbra. Used to be 4 mana, is now 5 mana, a neutral legendary, no minion type, that reads, after you summon a minion, trigger its Death Rattle effect. Now, the loop that was going on here was you'd have Egg on board, and then you'd play I think it's a 3-drop that destroys a card and a minion and summons one of 1 cost higher from your deck. Well, if Umbra was in your deck, Umbra came down, and then you got, or your opponent got, the entire egg chain, and they got their 2020 like insta, right?
Yep.
That loop is gone now. So that is a huge win. I am so happy to see that loop kind of thrown for a loop. So Schmoopydady, I know that you've played a decent amount, and I would go to Mae, but I really want to do the last one to her.
Yeah, same.
First, for obvious reasons. So, Schmoopy, take it away.
Yeah, huge, because it basically breaks that, like, oh, let me get my silly 2020s, sometimes in some cases, two 2020s and a 5/5 on turn 4. That just doesn't happen anymore, thank goodness. Sometimes turn 3 if you're really, 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 really lucky. What's nice is there are some memers that still use this card to do silly things that didn't want to see Spirit Singer Umbra fundamentally changed from, let's say, one nerf that I've seen the community float around was like, well, let's make it play and not summon, which would significantly hit Spirit Singer Umbra's viability as just a card that you could just use anymore. So keeping it summon, but bumping her to 5 shows good knowledge of like the exact scam that the deck was running. We're using Sacrificial Summoner to take her out of the deck. I will say this. I have seen people, I know Asia's a fake server, but I did in fact encounter a Sacrificial Summoner Meat Wagon combo, or at least what I assume that was what was happening. The Meat Wagon draws the egg and summons the egg. The Sacrificial Summoner kills the Meat Wagon, which is 4 costed, that then summons Umbra as a 5 cost. I don't even know the actual interaction order, if that would actually work, that you would then like get your whole combo off in one little package like that. But for God's sakes, you're forced to run Meat Wagon. Like, it's just the cost is not worth it, man. It's not. It's not.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not for me, dog. So yeah, I like this. This is a good nerf. This does in fact kill a deck, but it doesn't kill the card itself. If you really, really want to use Umbra, you can still use Umbra, and your stuff probably still works. I know. What do you think, Mae?
Yeah, I think the deck is pretty dead. I've got a pretty good friend who's pretty new to my community, but she's become a good friend, Acorn Oil, who loves to cook, and she said the other day, the great thing is I can still stick this in my Reno decks. In which I sat there for a little while and I thought about it and I said, well, you could, that is true. Whether you should or not is a different question, but you could definitely do it. But it's kind of cool that like that flexibility still exists where, people can still play with the card. But we don't have the toxic pattern of turn 3 you're staring down 66 worth of damage on board. And so I think the game is in a much healthier place now.
It's dead. Hooray. Hydra, what do you think, friend?
I think the deck is dead. Yes, but I think the card has potential. It's still a good card, right? So I think that people can cook in the future and they can come up with something else will come out of this eventually. Like the effect is too good to be ignored. And it's gone up by 1 mana, right? Effectively, it's destroyed what we're facing now. But who knows? Who knows what's going to come in the future? And I still think that the effect is powerful enough that you got to keep this one in your back pocket. And something could come out of it. We'll play it in Big Priest one day. Just kidding. Don't do that. No one's going to resurrect this card. But you know what I mean, right? Like,
if there's a death rattle loop, that we can initiate with it, that whole thing isn't gone. It's just clunkier, and this loop is gone, right?
And this loop is gone. So, like I said, keep it in your back pocket. Something could come out every time a new set comes out. See what's there. See if you can make it work.
Yeah, buddy. Well, finally, for the news, we have Ysael Windsinger still a 9 mana 5/5 Druid Legendary. Old, your spells cost 1. New, Battle Cry, your spells cost 1 this turn. So they made it a Battle Cry, and it's only this turn. In May, I'm going to turn it over to you to please share your lamentations with us.
Why didn't you ask the Druid player first? What the heck? Just kidding.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hydra still does not have a golden druid or 1K druid.
No, I still don't have the gold one. I got like 378 wins with Druid, and I've been playing the game for over a decade. That's why I can't answer this question.
That's why he made that assertion, because he's like, it ain't gonna be me.
I have spent a lot of time with Yasiel, more than probably 400 games at this point. And I miss her. I really, really love her. But honestly, if I'm gonna be real, she might be dead in things like Champions Druid, where oftentimes the setup that you're going for takes multiple turns, and you're sort of relying on things like Barnes to cheat out Yasiel, so that way you can start setting up your combo. But when it comes to Dungar Druid, the nerf really wasn't super impactful. And I know that probably sounds kind of crazy, but the reality is that all you have to do is change maybe 2 cards. You're definitely going to have to run 2 Shattered Reflections, for an example, whereas previously, those of us who were hanging on to dear life to our baby Yasiel were typically running 1 Shattered Reflections. And then the other piece to it is really changing your approach to the deck. You're being a lot more intentional. Previously, you could be a little bit lazy. You could throw out Dungar and pray that you hit your Malagos and your ENR and your Yasiel, and then you just win the game. There are other times where you would play Solar, which will cast the next spell twice, and then you play Nightshade Bud, and then you get your Yasiel and your ENR, or your Yasiel and your Malagos, depending on what else you have in your hand at that time. Now you're kind of forced to mull for Yasiel and then build the rest of your hand around what that pop-off turn is going to look like. And of course, you have your fallback. Of course, if you miss, you can shatter her and then go for it again if worst comes to worse. But to kind of put it into perspective, I was talking with KBLT and spectating some of his games. For those who don't know KBLT, you should. But he's probably the best Dungar player, or second best, depending on if you ask OTZ. But KBLT is very, very familiar with every possible line that Dungar has to offer. And he went 10-3 shortly after the nerf with it. And so I think that it definitely narrows what you're going to see. You're probably not going to see as much Mecha'thun or Barnes or Champions Druid. But there are some people still playing Dungar. I'm not one of them. I don't have the APM for it anymore. Because there are some tricky things, like, for example, playing Solar and Sleep Under the Stars in order to get full mana and also card drawn. I just can't do that. So I have moved on. I'm finding new stuff to play, as I mentioned. But if you're a masochist, you could still, try to tackle Dungar. It's still technically there. So that's my opinion. Schmoopy?
Yeah, I think it's I think it's the most harsh nerf almost when you look at it in a vacuum, because it's actually changing how the card operates. But we played Malagos Druid for years, just playing cards from hand, and now we can just do the same thing just by playing cards from hand. We're returning to Monkey in a way, right? Like, we're just kind of like, oh yeah, it's a battle cry, but like, that's okay. So's, you know, AK-47 Druid from back in the day. So like, that was all battle cries. We just do something very similar. And sure enough, we're doing something kind of similar where you can kind of do this. But it is worth noting that there are some operational differences. With her old text, Ysayle was acting as an aura that couldn't be disrupted or messed with by anything except for Razor Scale. Razor Scale was the only other tech card that had any kind of text when Ysayle came down. So let's say you played Lotheb before the Barnes Druid turn. Lotheb, you played a vanilla 5-mana 5/5. It, as much as it says, okay, tax your opponent's spells by 5 mana, Ysayle's text meant, no, all your spells cost 1. It doesn't matter what's happening to them. They all cost 1 right now. With the new battle cry, that aura is not auraing. It's now a battle cry the same way that the spell stuff is about battle cry, and so it's just a part of the layering, and so neophytes are farming KVLT as he's trying to refine this deck. Lotheb, Speaker Stomper, those spell tax effects are affecting. And that seems like, more than anything, operationally, that's standing in the way of the deck being viable. Sheep, your thoughts?
So I did not like running against Ysayle champions. The Nightshade loop and the Barnes loop, like May, you were talking about, where you kind of put together some of the different pieces here because you can Barnes and then do part of it, and you're collecting part of the things there. And as the opponent, I'm trying to be proactive, I'm building my game plan throughout the entire game, and it feels like, as the opponent, that you just kind of gained armor, waited, and then did everything all at once, right? And this limits that. This feels like it's more earned now than it used to, and I think that's the sign of a good nerf. I would kind of be okay with it, persisting longer than just this turn, as long as it's on the board, but it being removing that aura effect from it, I feel like changed it so much, and in a way where we can still see a seal, but there are all of these different conditions on it, on her, on that effect, where, like Schmoopy said, the neophytes are actively disrupting the effect, whereas they wouldn't have before, and that feels like there's a lot more counterplay for me as the opponent of the deck. So I think that's pretty cool. What do you think, Hydra?
I mean, I guess the biggest thing for me is the last 2 words is this turn, right? So in the previous text, your spells cost 1, right? So as long as this is on the board, as Schmoopydady mentioned, it's the aura effect. If it keeps on living, they keep on costing 1. It only has 5 health. Let's put it that way. It can die. It's not that hard, to kill it, unless there's obviously things protecting it. But this is kind of like your one go now. It's the battle cry. It's just this turn. So you better be ready to pop off, I guess, at this point in time. It's not I'm not the druid player, right? So But like, I feel like the old version, you're trying to pop off anyway, right? Like, am I wrong? Like, you're trying to pop off anyway. So with the new version, you're also gonna want to do the same thing. It's this turn. Like, this is your time. It's ready to go. And I guess no second chances at this point, because if you don't make it now, you're done. And I'm okay with that. I think that's cool. I think that's a good way to end it. Like, yeah, you didn't make your turn. You're done. Let's pass it back to the other guy. Let them take a chance. Let's see if they can kill you. So I like it. I think it's a good nerf.
Well, then there are a lot of Battlegrounds updates and some bug improvements, if I recall correctly, none of which were, or bug fixes, none of which, I think all of which were Battleground specific. Yeah, so nothing else for our modes there. So now we get to transition to the incredibly fun hero sound effects review, overview. Some of the hero cards and not cards, hero skins, and how they sound, how they how clear they are, how distorted they are. I'm going to turn it over to Mae to guide us through, because she has a very clear rubric and some great examples of what heroes sound good and why. And now we'll be able to apply that to ourselves. So Mae, take it away.
Yeah, this is a topic that I'm actually really passionate about because obviously I can't see the cards or the game board or how cool that hero looks, right? When I open a signature, my first thought is, ooh, 1600 dust. Same with gold cards. I dust all of my gold cards because to me, the signature Leroy is the same as the non-signature Leroy, right? I play the card, it makes some noise, and then I move on. And so one of the things that I get asked a lot is, well, if you can't see it, why do you play? Well, and the answer is, well, I still get enjoyment from a variety of things.
That's
sometimes.
A weird question.
Right?
Why would anybody ask that? And who did? And why haven't you banned them? What? I'm so confused.
It's not the visual elements that make it an exciting game to play.
But, you know, one of the answers that I have for people when it's usually first-time chatters who are, you know, it comes from a place of like genuine curiosity. You know, they've never seen a blind person play a game before, and so they're like, you know, video games are inherently visual. Well, they're not. There's, you know, tons of different audio components to it that make it very interesting. And naturally, just as in visual design, there are some pretty poopy audio designs out there as well. And so I actually have a...
You can say crappy. Crappy's okay.
That wasn't the first word or the second word that popped in my head. I'm trying to keep it PG for you, Hydra. I mean, not that I would ever swear. I'm very demure, very mindful. But
that TikTok.
I'm kind of a nerd, and so when I think about like what does good look like, or what does bad look like, I like to be able to quantify it. It's probably the software engineer in me, honestly. And so essentially I look at 5 qualities. I look at the audio clarity, So when the voice line or the animation effects occur, how clear are they to hear? When they're interacting with the music, when they're interacting with onboard effects, when they're interacting with other card animation sound effects, like how does that interplay? I look at audio distortion. So Hearthstone loves to do this thing where they slightly distort some of the audio. A little bit of distortion is not terrible. A lot of distortion is absolutely miserable and it gives me a migraine. Hence why I don't like Nesmani Priest. Audio interference, which is very similar to audio distortion, but specifically is in how it jeopardizes the quality of other sound effects within the game. Then I look at the quality of the voice lines themselves. Some voice lines are very creative and some of them are, well, frankly not. Some of them are very boring. And finally, I look to the interactivity of cards. So when you play certain cards, the characters will often say a thing. And sometimes it's really good. I don't know how to pronounce it. Kelthos, the mage.
Kelthos?
I mean, Kel'Thuzad.
I love.
It's Kel-
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Oh, Kel'Thuzad.
Yeah. When you freeze the board, he
They're
has.
both mages.
I don't know. One of them, when you freeze the board, he has a really funny line about, something like you
Try
need to be patient, or
You cast Frost
Yes,
Nova and he
exactly.
says try to be patient. So if you're playing Hostage
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
Mage,
Kel'Thuzad, yeah.
if you're playing Hostage Mage,
You guys playing Hostage Mage would know that, you evil doers.
I think it's a cool hidden interaction.
yeah. Whereas
Yeah.
like someone like Scarlet in Death Knight, when you play Corpse Explosion, she says boom, 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 boom each time that it triggers, and I find it to be
That's
kind of
cool.
annoying.
I
But
find
it-
cool.
It is
Oh.
so it's cool in the sense that there are hidden interactions, but some of them are great and some of them are not. Reno, absolutely cool. When you play Fan of Hammers, I think that's the name of the card.
I
It's a
think
Death Knight
Sheep's
card.
got some of these queued up.
Hold that thought.
Yeah. We're gonna crowbar some of these actual sounds into the show.
Yeah, what was the next one you were just invoking, May?
So when you play Reno Lone Ranger and you play, I believe it's Fan of Hammers or something Hammers. It's a Death Knight card that rotated with Badlands.
Fan the Hammer.
Pew, 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 pew.
And I just found it to be hilarious. Like every time it would go off, I would literally sit there and giggle for like probably 10 minutes in my stream.
And why wouldn't you? That's awesome.
Yeah. And so those are some of the things that I look at. So for the sakes of time, I did go ahead and pick out 3 that I think are really good, 3 that are particularly bad, and then there is one thing, or I guess 2 little quick things at the very end that I want to mention as like honorable mentions. But for the first that I think is particularly good, it's a newer skin. And that is Farseer Woe, which is a shaman skin.
Like, whoa.
Yeah, and what would you like to hear first from Farseer Woe that is most illustrative?
Let's start with the threat mode.
All right.
Your future looks dark.
So what you can see there is that the voice line itself is very on brand. It fits into the character's canonical sort of disposition, which I particularly enjoy. The second thing that I really like is that the clarity of what is being said is there. It's very clear, very well articulated. What's the word? The resonance in the pitch is pleasing to the ear. And so inevitably when you're queuing into an opponent who is, has this skin and they're playing Reno Shaman and they're spamming the threat emote because they think that they have lethal, it's not terribly annoying to listen to. Can you play the oops emote?
We all have regrets.
I like that because I find it to be in alignment with the concept of BM.
Oh, yeah, it's so much worse. Like, oh, you've made a mistake. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, and then can you play the hello emote as well?
Have you come to know your future?
Oh,
Again, I think it's very concise, which is also pretty helpful in a lot of ways. If we could move on to the next one, which is AFK from Perils in Paradise.
Absolutely.
do you think that you've come to know your future means like, do you know you're gonna lose? I feel like that's what it's saying. Like, have you come to know your future? Do you realize you're gonna lose this game? It's almost like BM just by saying hello.
There's one, I cannot remember, maybe Kelsu, the one that Schmoopy said earlier.
Kel'Thuzad.
Yeah, I queued into a friend, kleptomaniac, who always plays Reno decks. And when I queued into him, he emoted hello, and I emoted hello. But my emote was something like, why are you wasting my time? And then he DM'd me while I was streaming and was like, was that a threat emote? Was it a hello? Like, what is happening? Did I make you mad? I love those two. That makes me so happy.
That's the thing. Some of the hellos have become very aggressive, I've noticed over time. Like, they're not always nice.
So for AFK, let's start with the hello. Speaking of.
Wonderful to see you.
So this one is really interesting because the enunciation is a little dramatic. But I think that when we give the characters a little bit of personality or sassiness, it makes the character a little bit more relatable. So one of the things that you'll notice if you tune into my stream is a lot of the heroes I have favorited are ones that I can quote unquote relate to. I'm a very girly girl. I very much am the type of person that leans into some of the more stereotypic feminine traits. I paint my nails and I wear dresses and so on and so forth. And so characters like this, where there's like that emphasis on sort of that bubbliness, really speak to my inner diva. And so like I feel like the hello emote in particular does a really good job at sort of encapsulating sort of that like emotional connection that you would want to see in a character. Can you do the well played emote?
Absolutely.
Nice move.
So This one is really interesting because I would say that it is not necessarily as good as some of the others, but it sort of speaks to the quality assurance process for like creating these voice lines. Sometimes you're going to get a mixed bag, and that's okay. I don't think that there's anything wrong with not having 100% perfection. I think in a lot of cases, people will get caught up in some pretty minor, in my opinion, in the grand scheme of things, aspects of design. And, you know, if there's one little flaw, then all of a sudden the entire thing is god awful, and we should boycott it or whatever it might be, if it, you know, costs money. And so I wanted to point that out. Do you have the Frost Nova clip there?
Oh, the Kel'Thuzad one?
No, for AFK.
It doesn't mention one for Frost, but let me see. Mana Biscuit.
Let's do the Mana Biscuit. That one's fine.
Ah, my favorite.
And that was the Conjurer Mana Biscuit, but then the Mana Biscuit itself, which is one I think you were talking about, because it looks like it's going to be adorable.
I could nom these all day.
Yeah, and so you have like these little interactions that really emphasize like that personalization that I was talking about earlier, that really fits into the larger picture of the voice line itself, which I find to be particularly good. I am going to go ahead and move on to the next skin, though, which is Leroy the Legend. This one is a lot of fun.
I'm
find
excited
myself
to hear your opinion here.
I find myself spamming a lot of the emotes for Leroy, not because they are particularly good, but because they are particularly annoying. Which again,
Leroy Jenkins
really fits into the canon of Leroy, right? Like Leroy is intended to be annoying. And so I think that they've done a really fantastic job at capturing that. For example, go ahead and hit the wow.
That's 1 in a billion.
So one of the things that it doesn't capture as a part of the audio clip is there's actually like a sort of like spring, which I believe is probably an interaction with a chicken of some kind.
Yeah,
that gets
they
tied
separate them,
in.
I think.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. Yeah, there's like the voice line, and then there's like a background noise audio clip that they overlap, and then they're separated.
Ah, gotcha. Well, the way that they do it is absolutely brilliant because it kind of goes to like that concept that I was talking about with the distortion and interference. Because they layer them just right, so it doesn't create any interference, but it does create a little bit of distortion. But the way that the distortion happens, it just kind of naturally flows into the voice line itself. Can you do the threat emote for me, Sheep?
Stay out of my way.
Okay, so that's not the one that I was thinking of. Let's do the well played.
Not too shabby, chum.
Yeah, there we go. So I absolutely love doing this one, particularly when I queue into Schmoopy. One, because I know that
Perfect.
he's already squelched me, so
That's
it's
true.
fine.
Chewy's probably as in squid mode.
You
That's not
squelch your
Princess Squid
friends?
mode.
Come on.
But it's very lighthearted and like kind of speaks to, again, that like dynamic character interaction that makes it a lot more personable.
Looking at what the transcripts of all of them, I feel like the oops really leans into his character archetype too, because that one is.
It's not my fault.
And so he's just like,
Oh.
nope, not me.
Okay, so I'm notorious for making misplays when I'm streaming because I'm juggling so many different trains of thought in audio streams, and
Yeah.
I just have a lot going on. And so I'll make a misplay, and sometimes it's really, really obvious. And then I'll pause, and then I'll do that emote just because it's funny. Like, not my fault. Like, I'm sorry. Did I miss that? My bad. And I agree with you. I think that it definitely is on brand. I did want to talk about a couple that I think that are particularly bad, and it's actually probably going to surprise you because some of these, in theory, should be probably some of the best because we've spent a lot of money on them. The first that I want to talk about, and I do own all of these, by the way.
So you have a right to complain. Got it.
Sobby mode. Sobby mode.
The first one is Ragnaros.
That wasn't
which-
cheap.
It was not. Wasn't the most expensive one on this list, but it wasn't cheap. And Ragnaros, of course, is your dual class shaman and warrior. And if you could just go through the base emotes, hello, well played, etc., up through threat. I'm gonna be quiet for a sec.
Yeah, I'll play him for us.
The Fire Lord greets you. Your moves are fire. An error? You will burn out soon. I thank you. Red hot.
So, a couple of things to note here. I'm wearing a headset. I always wear a headset when I play this game. I wear a headset when I play every game because audio is really important to me. The headset that I use has essentially enabled three-dimensional audio placement. And most of the reason that I leaned for something like that is when I play games like Diablo 4, audio placement is incredibly essential. I was functionally using echolocation to navigate through a lot of the game. For Hearthstone, it largely is to be immersed in all of the different aspects of the rich audio interaction. For the most part, they've done a fantastic job on the design, and I really appreciate it. And I want to enjoy every aspect of it. However, when we talk about the audio distortion, one of the things that you can see with this skin, it's not the worst that it could be. There are some that are worse. But after every voice line, there's an underlying like fire sound. And at first, it seems like, oh, that's very thematic, it's fantastic. But the problem is that the fire sound ends up drowning out some of the other audio in the game. And so when I'm listening to the text-to-speech and I'm trying to figure out, what cards are is my opponent playing, I'm listening for the voice lines of the cards as they're hitting the board and sort of planning around it. I'm taking in all of that information all at once. And then when I've got the fire sound overlaying the top of it, it makes it very hard to understand both the lines and also what the heck is happening on the board, which is really unfortunate. The other reason why I find this to be a pretty bad skin in general is actually the lines themselves. I find them to be very bland, very boring. When they advertised this skin, it was very much in the spirit of, we're taking it to the next level. These skins are going to be absolutely fantastic. And visually, they nailed it, right? Like, visually, from what I understand, like, the attack animation is really cool. Like, I think he, like, leans across the board or something. And when you win or lose...
It's still designed for phones, so we're not talking like next gen graphics, right? Like sure. This isn't like you're playing the best like AAA game. It's still like Warcraft 3 sort of graphics where they're just reaching across the board and doing stuff. Like this is completely top notch. It's very 3D, we'll say that, but
sure. And that's great, and I love that for sighted players. But I feel like, personally, a lot of the attention to detail went to that 3D interaction model, which, like, fair, like, from, like, a development perspective, it's really hard. But I don't feel that the creative team hit it out of the park. I think that they did the minimum to make the lines in alignment with the culture that you would see out of Ragnaros, but I don't find them to be all that particular interesting. Like Red Hot, for example. Like, really, that's the best you could do with that? All right,
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, like oops is an error. Thanks is I error. Thank you. Like, threaten, you will burn out soon. Okay. Well played, your moves are fire. All right. Greetings, the Fire Lord greets you. It's a little bland, but it's that I feel like that's the more like bare minimum that you're talking about. Like, it's on theme, but like the Fire Lord greets you. Like, I don't know the lore, but it could be something more like
Red Hot. I missed the insect. As oops. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
It could be funnier. It could be a little bit more. I don't know.
So the next one that's really bad is the new Yogg-Saron pay-to-win skin. And I'm calling it that because in order to get it, you had to essentially spend your retirement fund, i.e. spin the wheel 10 times and spend $158 US in order to get. And at first,
just like,
I was absolutely excited. I was like, this is fantastic. And the more I played with it, the more I realized, God, what a waste of money.
No.
Can you play all of the baselines?
I have known you from your creation. Your skill is tremendous, but it will not save you. Entropy overcomes us. Give in to terror. My thanks. Unfathomable.
So this one is really interesting because I don't think that it suffers quite as much from the blandness that Ragnaros does. Could some of the lines be a little bit better? Yes, I do think so. But are they absolutely horrendous? No. The problem with this one is sort of twofold. One, Hearthstone really likes to do this thing lately where they introduce a lot of reverberation and echo to the hero emotes.
Mm-hmm.
You see this with Yogg. We've seen it with N'Zoth, with Cthulhu, Ursoc, the Jailer, which we'll talk about here in just a second. There's a lot of these quote unquote Titanic type skins, and they probably think it's really cool because it like becomes very mystical in nature. But the problem is that when you start adding in all of this extra echo, it ends up doing what we were talking about earlier with the fire, but 10 times worse. It's constantly drowning out everything. Which makes it, again, very difficult to enjoy the rest of the audio. It's no longer mixing cleanly, and you're missing little audio cues as things are getting played. Where it's really good is if you're playing against Nesmani Priest, then you can spam emotes and then you don't have to listen to Lightspeed over and over and over. But for the most part, it's kind of annoying. The other piece to it is actually the passive audio. I don't know if they would have it on there, but a really good description that I heard from somebody is each time that Yogg plays a card, like for example, Mass Production, if you're playing Seed Block, it kind of sounds like Mr. Yogg is on the toilet, and he is having a very long toilet session, and he's not quite done yet. Because there is a lot of grunting and groaning, and it is so bloody annoying. Like,
even I cannot perceive it.
It's like this, like, over and over and over. And it's like, all right, like, can we just not? It goes back to what I was saying earlier about, like, audio disruption, right? When you're constantly flooding the audio stream, that's also not good. And so I would give this one a solid, like, 2 out of 10. Which is unfortunate because it cost me a lot of money. So now it just gets to sit in my collection. Along with the other 15 skins I don't use. Unlucky.
It's so funny that you say that it sounds like he's on the toilet, because like with all of the echo that's there, like it kind of sounds like the reverb from, like, you know when you're talking to someone on the phone and they say they're not on the toilet, but like that they are, and like it's that small room like echo kind of thing. It sounds like he's on. I think
he's doing poopy.
I think Yogg might just be sitting on the can, y'all.
And
that's my new headcanon.
For the last one, Sheep, I won't talk about it too terribly much. If you just want to play the 5 base emotes for the Jailer, it'll be probably pretty apparent.
Hail, lost soul.
Oh yeah.
I find your spirit worthy. A flawed move. All that you know will be undone. I thank you. How striking.
And so very similar to what I was talking about earlier, with sort of this like proliferation of, like, you've got these big scary heroes, or at least in my brain, they're big and scary. They've added this like underlying echo effect, which I think is meant to be really neat. But again, it really distracts from the rest of the audio blending, and causes all sorts of misplays and issues. So Again, I think that this would be not super great. And so before I wrap this section up, for the sakes of time, I did want to give two honorable mentions. This probably surprises Schmoopy that I did not include Nimsy. Most people who have interacted with me know that I have been begging and begging and begging Blizzard to include Nimsy in the shop since I started playing this game 2 years ago. And they finally did. And I was so excited. And I like her voice lines. Yeah.
The one that we hated for so long.
What's so funny, there was a time when every new skin that came out was a Nimsy skin. And it's like, oh, hey, look, here's the brand new Nimsy skin that just came out. And it was like the new, like the first N'Zoth that came out, which was really cool, but might have driven you nuts. If you ever played like Plot Twist with like Educated Alec, or not Educated Alec, the Alec that like shuffles extra stuff in, Amplified Alec or whatever. N'Zoth says, nothing is as it seems whenever you play Plot Twist, but mechanically the way it would trigger is the voice line would trigger for every single shuffle of the Plot Twist. And so they would start to, it's a long voice line, so they'd start to overlap. And so I'm watching Swagwar and nothing as it seems, nothing as it seems, nothing as it seems, nothing as it seems, which like you're typing it out in chat, right? And like just like turning it into copy pasta. And it's funny because it's a point where like life is imitating art, and the copy pasta is actually hitting the same amount of times as the nothing as it seems on the screen as it's happening. It's glorious, but for you, that's just like taking you and just like, covering you in cotton balls, like just like, completely swaddling you and not allowing you to interact with your environment.
Yeah, that's right on target there, Schmoopy. It would be literally
right on target.
It would be my ninth dimension of the underworld. Absolute misery. I'm not sure what would be worse, that or light speed, honestly. It's funny, like with Nimsy, like I said, I really look for heroes that I can relate to. And I wanted to give her an honorable shout out because I find all of the Warlock skins and all of the Warrior skins to be absolutely atrocious. I hate all of them.
What about Magni for Warrior?
Nope, I hate all of them.
Behind my beard.
That's not true, actually. There's one that just came out in the last Tavern Pass, I think. Chandris something. Silverman? Featherman? Something. That's a warrior skin, and I like her. But the rest of them, I'm just like, do I have to play this class? It's meta, kinda-ish, I guess. I guess I'll play it. And to be fair, I do not own all of the skins, so like there's probably some that like might be okay. But when I have participated in theory crafting before, I've gone through most of them, and I did not find them to be all that pleasant to the ear. The other thing I wanted to mention, just real quick, is everybody's favorite topic, which is pets. I did finally give in and get a pet. I love puppies. Not surprising.
Arthas!
And so I did get Arthas. And again, just like Yogg, it was one of the worst decisions that I've made financially since I started playing Hearthstone. The pets are absolutely terrible. They hit every negative box. They constantly are chattering. They're interrupting the rest of the audio flow. they're masking some of the quality of the base hero skins. And then they also steal. The reason I actually turned it off wasn't even all of that. But sometimes when I'm playing, if I try to click on the far left card in my hand, it'll start interacting with the pet, and then it breaks the accessibility mod. So, Arfus has been banished to my collection. He's been a bad boy and is now in his kennel. But I just wanted to mention those because, I know that there's a lot of mixed opinions on, whether the pet is really cute or if it is god awful. They all sound alike to me, other than Arfus. Arfus is unique. And whether it's Ysera, if it's Crush, if it's the stupid bunny, they're all annoying.
And how?
I think the episode title should be "They're all annoying." That's just. I think that's perfect.
No.
Why not?
No. There's 4 people on screen,
Because
and
they
the
think we're
episode name is
talking
"They're
about
all annoying."
us.
That's such a horrible idea. Like, you don't get to pick the names anymore, Schmoopydady. That's an awful idea.
Okay. So my co-hosts will not be surprised that I have to ask about your opinion on the Dame Hazelbark skin. How does she sound? Because Dame Hazelbark, my tree grandmother, Schmoopy, oh god. She's my all-time favorite skin, and I just I would like to know from a more outside of a more like flavor standpoint, but from someone who approaches these things from this way. What do you think about her?
So, let me phrase it. Let me say 2 things. One, I think that the voice lines for her are quite good. In a vacuum.
Okay. Okay.
However, I'm gonna be honest, Sheep. Please don't hate me. There are 2 skins that make me deeply uncomfortable in Hearthstone. It is her and stepfather Lothamar. Both of those skins. I think it's stepfather Lothamar or step something. It's a hunter skin. They both make me very uncomfortable. And so there have been times where I've honestly
I just pulled up
about
Stepfather Lorthamar. Yeah, that one does creep me out.
Why does it already sound creepy just on the name? And Stepfather shouldn't have a bad name, but it sounds creepy already. And like, there's a lot of good stepfathers out there, I'm sure. But
I don't know, man, but it makes me deeply uncomfortable. And so when I queue into people who have these skins, I highly consider just conceding immediately.
Well, if you're playing against me and I'm playing Druid, then I'm either playing Dame Hazelbark or Cthulhu. So I'm sorry.
If I suddenly concede on turn 3, you know why.
Delightful.
But yeah.
That's funny.
Unrelated Advice with special guest of the week.
Mae.
Schmoopy.
Now, you've shared in the past how accessibility, especially in your early education and learning how to read, was not always up to snuff or where it should be. And so you've learned a lot of your literacy through audio means, right? And like text to speech. And so I find it adorable. Every once in a while, you will have a spelling error because your spelling's phonetic, and you'll take a word and I'll know what word it is, but you'll do it in a phonetic way where it's like, I'll be like, well, that spelling is crazy. I know what she's talking about, but that spelling is crazy. I'm curious, has there ever been a word for you where you've learned the proper spelling of it and you're like, no, why? Like, has there ever been one that's just sort of thrown you for a loop?
Oh man. Yeah, there's been a couple over the years. One of my favorites in high school was the word technique. I used to do a lot of like fan fiction style writing, and at the time I was like super obsessed with Naruto. And so there's lots of ninja art, secret technique, blah 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 blah. And I thought technique was spelled Tekneek.
Fair enough.
And I just kept spelling it that way.
Right.
Forever and ever and ever. And my mom used to tell me all the time, and this is partially why I dug my heels in on it, probably up until I was about 17, but she'd be like, if people see the way that you're spelling, they're going to think that you're not smart. They're going to think that you're dumb. And I was like, I don't care. They can think whatever they want. And so I was being a rebellious teenager and refusing to learn how to spell. Today, actually, I've recently found myself in a couple of Discords with lots of random strangers. And it's been really odd to me, but I've enjoyed it because I'm very much an introvert. I don't usually socialize a whole ton. Socialization is very hard for me. That's why I stream. I kind of force myself out of my comfort zone. But I learned today that the word Shrek, like the movie Shrek, does not end in CK.
Yeah.
Apparently it ends in just a K. And to me, that is nutty. I can't fathom why it should be that way. And of course, as you said, Schmoopy, there are lots of instances where, even today, I will spell things, and as a software engineer, I should pay a lot of attention to how things are spelled because accuracy is really important when you want your function or argument to actually do the thing that you want it to do. But I can't be bothered. I've always looked at it as, if you can understand what I am trying to convey to you, if you understand the concept, why does it matter how I spell it?
Wiser words have never been spoken, and you heard that on. I mean, really, that as long as the message is conveyed, like, it doesn't matter. I agree.
Yeah.
Also, it can be really funny sometimes.